Welcome back to another episode of Jet Fuel in the Morning. This is season 2, episode 6, and I'm your host, Lindsay Gamel, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Rachel Litsky with Fast Aviation.
And we are interviewing Richard and Mia Scarbrough. And today's topic is called Passing the Torch. And kind of the thought behind this episode was just the sheer lack of interest in aviation lately, the lack of pipeline. And everybody talks about the need to develop the pipeline. And yet there's so many people in the industry that when asked if they would have their children join the industry, they say, oh, I want my kids to do anything but aviation. And there's such a negative connotation on it. And I feel like
mine have no choice. They're required.
Right. And we feel I think we lost Rachel. There she is. Okay. And we feel that it's everybody's personal responsibility to pass on their passion and knowledge to even their own children or their own community. So today we have the perfect example of that with Richard and Mia. Richard's been in the industry for many, many years, and we'll let you do a quick introduction in just a second. And Mia is his daughter, and she is now also joining the industry. Well, she's been in it for a little while and about to set sail on her newest adventure. So, Richard, you want to go ahead and give a quick intro of who you are, and then Mia, and then we'll just jump into some questions and start picking your brain on how you inspired Mia, and Mia, what drew you into the industry.
Sure thing. So, thanks for having us. First, I'd like to start off with what we talked about. Like to congratulate the midshipmen from Annapolis on their historic win over Army in the annual Army-Navy game. So that is America's game, and it's my Super Bowl. So kudos to the midshipmen. Now I can lose the I guess you could tell from the hat that I started my career in naval aviation in 1988 when I graduated high school and left for Great Lakes Recruit Training Command. From there, I went to Memphis and learned sheet metal skills. So I was banging rivets in Memphis, Tennessee. That's right. And that was my first hands-on experience. I guess you could say I was born into this because my father traveled with Beechcraft in the 70s and 80s, and he was an outside sales guy for Beechcraft. So I grew up on the airport. There we go. Beach.
She's a Beechcraft girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a beach family. My favorite airplane's a Beech 18, the Model 18. Real airplanes have big round motors and little tail wheels. So huge shout out to Beechcraft.
We are a beach family.
Yeah, they fed my family for decades now. So starting the third generation with Mia. When I got out of the Navy, I got my EMP license. I did a couple of stints with the airlines in line maintenance, first with Delta. And then I went back to Delta in the engine shop in TechOps for a second go around. In the middle of all that, I owned a company that bought and sold King Air parts. We actually owned BB-12 and serial number BB-12 and parted it out at PAA. And then I owned a company called Aviation Enterprises where we bought and sold aircraft parts. And then decided to get
All right, you are singing Rachel's song right now.
Tell me more about all the airplane parts.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's pretty neat. One of the companies I called on was here at Wencor was a 145 that did landing gear, Trace Aviation out of Mississippi. My brother's company, PAG, just bought them. And I'm walking through the shop going, that's a 50-820-208-5 nose landing gear actuator.
Yeah, literally.
And I said, these are the left and right 99. It was calling out the different part numbers. So it was neat to hear them kind of be astonished, when I say this is a 9981 0057-651, oh, and there's the 652, So I can't remember, her phone number, but I can call out Beechcraft parts from
same way.
Yeah, from the past 35 years I've been in aviation. One of the things I did in the middle of all this is I bought a 145 repair station at some point and overhauled engines. So we overhauled Continental Lycoming engines at Noonan-Coweta Airport for 10 years, and then I sold that. Didn't sell it for enough to go fishing for a living, so I'm here at Wencor now on my 9 to 5, where I manage bearings. In the middle of all this, my boss at the time, when she hired me, Melissa Garrett, said that we'd like you to have a bachelor's degree, but you don't. So we'll hire you, but you're going to go to school. Oh, and by the way, you're going to go to Embry-Riddle.
Go Eagles!
Hey. So she was a mathematics instructor for 9 years, and I enrolled in yes.
Yep.
In 2016 and finally graduated in May of 2020. So I got my bachelor's degree at 50 years old. So it's never too
Internet.
late.
I remember that like it was yesterday. It was in 2020, right? When you graduated.
Yep.
Watch it on the TV.
We had to watch it on TV.
I know.
She's back. During all that, I learned that I really had a passion for writing. So I started a writing business called ScarbroughCo LLC, and I put my name in the business because family's at the core of everything we do. And Mia is my right-hand person and heir apparent to the kingdom of the content creation that we do in the writing. And I like to think that we are the perfect blend of old school knowledge and youth enthusiasm. And she knows all the cutting edge techniques and SEO and how to do hashtags and what she's look good. And she has an artist's eye for the flair. And we actually manage social media for a couple of aviation companies. And I write for Flying Magazine. I write for Aviation Maintenance Magazine. And I just picked up NBAA. So I've got 2 published with NBAA, and I've got more on the way. We're building out our content calendar for 2025. So lots of content coming for NBAA in 2025. And that's keeping me busy. Mia, what brings you to the table today?
Yeah. What made you, inspired to join this insane, crazy, fun, fast-paced industry?
Well, when I was younger, I just remember my dad was always happy when he came home from work. And that wasn't always the case, for other people. You hear about dads coming home from work being cranky, not wanting to talk to their kids or whatever, but we had a lot of fun. And I remember visiting his business when he was doing the engines and just being wowed by everything. And so he talked about his work with such passion, and he was always so excited to talk about it. And he was always in a great mood when he came home from work. So, that already set the precedent for me that, it was a positive industry and you can get into something that you're passionate about and really enjoy what you do for a living. And I went to college. We were in college at the same time for a little bit. I went to college in 2019 and you were finishing up there. Yep. And I started with my major in mass communication because I just like to talk and I didn't know what else to do. So I knew I liked to talk and I knew I liked to talk to people and, communicate. So mass communications was my major, and I tried out a couple different things during college and after college. I found out that the 9 to 5 route was not for me. I really enjoyed, working in a marketing agency. That was a lot of fun. And we actually got to start our own, which we talked about doing marketing for aviation companies. Shout out Oasis Aviation. They were our first client and really took a chance on us, and we're still working with them today. But after watching, how happy my dad was in the aviation industry, talked to his dad about it before. My mom's dad was also in the aviation industry as well. I decided why not give it a chance. And I was looking to see, what was available at the time, what applications were open, what could I do that allowed me to be on my feet and keep myself occupied because I did not like sitting at the desk. Running out of work, being like, okay, what do I do now to look busy? Do I start typing on the keyboard? So I saw that flight attendant applications were open and I decided to take a chance. And I know some people say, it'll take 5 times, 7 times, just keep trying. Well, I got it. And I was really excited for that. So I start in January and I'm ready to go. I'm antsy. So I'm ready to get started, but I'm really excited. I'm excited to meet new people. I'm excited to work in an industry that my dad is so passionate about and has talked so highly about his whole life. And I'm excited to make some new experiences and really get to know more about the industry as well.
I don't know where she gets it from.
No clue. No clue. Sorry, I lost you guys there for a second. I don't know why. Now my internet's being weird.
Maybe they'll figure it out one of these days. It's come. They can make make our cell phones do all kind of crazy stuff except send and receive phone calls. It's not good at that, but it'll do everything else under the sun. So
yeah,
exactly.
No,
I do have a question. So, you, Richard, you have 2 daughters, right?
Correct. Yep.
Right.
So my younger daughter is Maggie. She's a sophomore in college. She's currently at Young Harris, which is in North Georgia, but she's transferring in the fall to Mia's alma mater, Georgia College in Millersville, pursuing mass communications also.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, I'm building my
yeah, empire. That's what you build an empire. That's what it is. So I'm 3rd generation pilot, aviation. My grandfather is in it. My father's into it. So like when I was born, and I'm an only child, and of course I'm a girl, my dad's like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? And I need to ask him, because I wonder if when I was born, he was like already thinking that I was going to end up in aviation. I mean, my whole life I've been told I need to do marketing. I need to be a lawyer. I need like all these things. But like I've just been around it. I had no other choice but aviation. So when your daughters were born, did you think that they were going to be in aviation? Was it like your goal for them to be in aviation, or were you just like, whatever they want, I want, as long as they're happy?
That's a great question. And yes, that it's amazing now to sit and talk that, when my daughters were born, it was 20 years ago for Maggie and 23 years ago for Mia. And the opportunities for girls in aviation weren't as prevalent as they were today. I mean, I spoke about doing some social media stuff. We did some work for AWAM.
I'm part of AWAM. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did their marketing campaign when they had their scholarship push back in the spring.
Great.
So shout out to Stacy Rudzer. She
I know. So she used to work for me. Stacy used to work for me.
Wow. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's who got me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stacy and I worked together as well. That's so funny.
Yeah, because
we all worked with Stacy.
Yeah. Small world. She just had her son.
That's what I love about aviation. It is the largest small business on earth. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, don't screw it up. Never burn a bridge.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. You know what?
Be careful.
We don't see eye to eye. You go do you, I do me. We're in the same thing, same boat. Yeah. We're shoveling all the water out together. I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, just run in parallel. Just don't interconnect. Just flying in parallel.
Don't ever burn the bridge.
It's like flying in formation. World. You don't want to mess it up.
No deviation.
Just fly in aviation. So it was really with my work with when I started working with AWAM a couple of years ago. I met Stacy at the TC Alliance, which is a conglomeration of consulting companies headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. She and I are both a part of that, so that's where I met Stacy. And it was really when I met her that I thought, there's so many stories that can be told in aviation. And I did have the girls at the shop, and they did not have a flair for working on things. So I knew they didn't want to be mechanics, but I know that they both have amazing imaginations. And so I thought, here's a chance for me to marry my 2 passions, which is aircraft maintenance and storytelling, and pass that along to my daughters. So it was really my work with AWAM that ignited that spark to say, I need to get my girls involved. And that's when I started my side business to do that. And everybody's got a moniker, a tagline, or their why. Simon Sinek says you always need to lead with your why. So our why is we use storytelling to spark collaboration. and that's it. I mean, we tell airplane stories about people, about real people doing real work.
And creating that relationship. That's what this is. Like, I don't sell like I always say, I don't sell airplane parts. I create relationships so that I can help other people create memories, because those airplane parts create memories. Like, they can go fly with their family, they can get their jobs done. We are creating jobs,
Yeah.
So.
My work with NBAA right now is we're focused on Climbing Fast, which is connecting small businesses together. And Mia can attest to what's going on with the airlines today. There's so many people. I mean, the hangover from COVID is over, and I pray for the day when we don't even speak that evil word again.
I know.
We're only talking about.
They're like, "Oh, did you wear a mask?" I'm like, "No." I freaking go out and work on an airplane and come in, and I'm like, eating my food, not even washing my hands. Like, got 5606 and grease going through my veins. Like, it's gonna keep the cancer away one day.
Yeah, that's my blood type. Is that red oil? So because of that, and because the airlines are flying at and over capacity, the small business professional that needs to get there quick, there's a deal going to be done this afternoon.
We need it done yesterday.
Who's going to get here first? Are you going to be in line, with TSA with 3 hours left before you can even get a chance to take your shoes off and run? Or do you want to taxi up right to the aircraft, and be airborne in 15 minutes? Do the deal. I mean, the deal's already closed by the time you're, wheels up at Hartsfield. So that's my work with NBAA, and we're talking about how to keep business aircraft mission critical and ready and safe, and get those folks there quickly and safely, so they can do their business. Because we all know life works at the speed of business, and time is money. And if you get there when the ink's dry on the contract, good chances you won't be doing it next year. So that's how we got. No, that's okay. That was the kind of my aha moment where I was like, hey, here's the perfect way to bring my daughters.
Like, you saw the light bulb went off.
Maggie's such a writer. He's writing a book right now. Sorry to throw that out there, but my sister is as well. So she really follows in his footsteps as a writer. I talk like him, and my sister writes like him. So she and him like to write together, and she actually has written several articles for our business that are really good.
We've posted them on LinkedIn, where she talks about inside look at things. And so I think she's written 2 or 3 articles for the company we posted on LinkedIn.
Lindsay and I both have 2 kids, and it's funny because we have talked about like what we see ourselves like. Oh, am I losing you guys again?
Oh no.
Hold on.
She'll join again.
I'm back.
You're back.
So we both have 2 kids, and we talk about how we see ourselves in different aspects of each of our kids. Like, and her daughter Aubrey works for me, and so like, oh my gosh, there's moments I'm like, oh my God, it's Lindsay, and it's just keep losing.
So my wife Lisa,
hold on, once.
We're good.
It's funny. My wife Lisa will say, "Oh, go ahead." No, my wife Lisa will say sometimes, she goes, "I love to see you argue with Mia, because it's like you're arguing in a mirror."
Arguing with yourself.
And I'll say something.
Oh, that's me.
She'll hit me with a comeback, and I was like, I was going to say that next.
I was like, dang, she got me.
Exactly.
Beat me to it.
Growing up, I was like, I had no choice, but I love tinkering things. I have skinny arms. I can fit in the lightning holes. We always did projects. My dad had his own shop and stuff. One thing though is, I had a lot of different types of friends. I didn't have a ton of friends. I was really a lone wolf. I kind of like, Rachel always kind of does what Rachel does, and I would have girlfriends over the years. And, Lindsay, you remember when you and, my friend Kelly, we all went flying to Flagler. Kelly was one of them where, my dad would have, like, my friends would be over, and my dad would be like, so when's the last time you guys changed a tire? We're like, oh no, and we're going to be going out that night. And I'm like, listen, we have to go do like this. And my dad's going to teach us how to do this. And we have to go do it because it's his job in life to make sure that we're all independent and strong women, And so my dad has always like promoted not just me, but other women. So when you got involved with seeing AWAM and you see all different types, like we do Girls in Aviation Day, which Girls in Aviation Day for Sanford Airport is coming up in January, Lindsay. I'll be talking to you about that. But it's super important, not just with, and with boys, but with girls, we can be very intimidated, and our self-esteem, it's just like, especially with social media and everything. I mean, Lindsay and I talk about it all the time, and I get like, I know I act like all like tough and everything, but really inside I'm like dying half the time. Like, who are these girls and what's this? And, you know, like I'm really intimidated on doing something. So my dad found it really important to really lift not just me, but all my friends and like anyone that we were in contact. And my dad goes to the aviation days with us. He like really tries to promote it. So do you find it not just your job for your daughters, but when you get around other females and other girls like their same age, you're like, hey, let's all go do this together. Like it has it become your job as like that male figure and as a father to like also teach others?
Yeah, 100%. And like we talked about at the onset of this podcast, you know, the technical talent pool is shrinking. So the older guard are retiring. And one thing about aircraft maintenance is, yes, we have the manuals and we have instructions and we have ACs and ADs and service bulletins, and that gives you the web work of what you need to do the job, but it doesn't give you the nuances to do that job. So those only come from the old gray. We have a saying, Mav, a friend of mine at TC Alliance, we're the graybeards. And we talk about, you know, expelling.
We're pirates and like, yes, that's like right. All maintenance. That's the same here. And
so we know where the treasure's buried, and we know where the X is.
It's exactly that. Yeah.
You have to be able to interpret that, read the tea leaves, and understand. Yes, the book says this, but
we got to get in and it has to be done a certain way. Yeah.
Correct.
Teaching that resilience.
If you torque, you talked about changing tires, and you torque that jam nut to specs, and it doesn't line up with the cotter pin hole. Well, the book just says stick the cotter pin in, and you're like, I can't.
Oh. No, we're going back.
So
yeah, you have to know
all of that is built up over decades, and I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones that came before me, the guys that came up in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and I started aircraft maintenance in the 1980s, and it all builds upon itself, and I'm of the mindset that if you have a passion for aircraft and you have a technical aptitude and you're willing to work on planes, then there is a seat at the table for you.
Please.
My job as a mentor, graybeard, old guy, whatever you want to say, is to set that landscape where it's safe and accommodating. So anybody,
and let me help you. Like I will be there for you. Yeah. If we don't do that, there are so many people that just end up they get intimidated, or they're just like, I can't do this. When really we need to be like, you can do this. And I'm going to sit here until I got to beat it in your brain. There's a joke that we talk about, like, man, you know, that guy or that girl hasn't been out on the ramp where it's 95 in the shade and the only fire ant pile is right there, and their dad or another mechanic is yelling at them to go get the 3/8. You know, you hand them a 5/16 and you're like, really need a 3/8. Like, they haven't experienced that, and it shows. And that's what you have to have with maintenance, is that resilience. And it goes into going for being a flight attendant, being a pilot. It goes with everything with aviation, because if you don't love it, if you don't have the passion, if you're not resilient to just get up and wipe yourself off and keep going after you got stabbed with safety wire, you're not going to make it. Like, you just have to keep going, put a Band-Aid on and keep going. That's why like maintenance is really hard. And a lot of people don't make it because you have to keep going.
The best mechanic I ever managed was at my engine shop. And I had a guy who went on to who now owns his own engine shop, and his wife came up and needed some part-time work. Her attention to detail and meticulously cleaning was bar none. If you put an oily part into an MPI bath, you've contaminated that bath, and you have to drain it all out. And MPI, penetrating fluid, is very expensive. Her stuff was squeaky clean, and we never had to send it back. And she would find things during the cleaning and inspection process that we missed during teardown. And those are the times when you learn of those defects during cleaning and inspection. you can get right in front of the customer and say, hey, I'm really sorry this accessory housing's not going to make it. And instead of at build up, you can have those conversations early, because some of those parts, as you know, in supply chain right now are tough to get, and the lead times
we're
are
a
crazy.
year out and getting anything from Continental.
Yeah. So the sooner you find something, the easier it is to find a USM or develop a DER repair. I mean,
and having that open communication with the customer too, like just being really open with them and telling them, hey, we found something. And it's not like it was like way down the line, like you're saying, where they're like, oh my God, I've already spent like 5 weeks and now you just tell me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm picking the engine up in 2 days and now you tell me I need a $3,000 part. What gives? Why were you slow rolling this to me? And but you tell them, 2 hours in, it makes that conversation a lot easier.
Yeah. Lindsay, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just going to say I did not have any generational aviation passed down to me. I was like first generation in my family, and it just came from, honestly, just a desire to get out of my small town, because I grew up really poor and we didn't get to go anywhere. And I thought, well, I want to see the world and I want to do these things. And the only way that I know how to do it is if I'm getting paid. Like, I have to work to do it. And
you're so driven. Like, you are such a driven person. Like, from the second I met you, I'm like, we're going to be friends.
Best friends. Well, once I landed in aviation, what I didn't expect to happen was to fall madly in love with it. And so it's funny, I always say aviation is like my first love and still my true love. It's the only love that has never broken my heart. It is absolutely delivered all the promises that it, offered. And it's taken
a lot of Advil and a lot of coffee.
There you go.
Yeah. But with that, I wanted to pass that on to my kids. And so both of them are involved in the aviation program in their high schools. And so my son is working for his A&P right now in the high school. And then my daughter's also in the same program. And then she works with Rachel after school. So, and here's the thing, at the end of the day, neither one of them, maybe they won't go into the field right away, or maybe they'll do it later in life. Who knows? But I felt like it was my absolute mandate that I had to pass on this passion and knowledge to them. And
show them the door. Yeah. Let them step through it. And then they're like, where can I land in this area? Yeah. Like, Mia's like, I'm going to be a flight attendant, and she's so good at communicating and talking with people that, you never know. They might be in an emergency, and she is able to talk everyone through it and calm everyone down because she has those skills to do it. And aviation just gives you so many different opportunities. And that is what our job is to show all the younger people, hey, it's not just being a pilot. It's not just being a mechanic. There are so many different facets to fall into. Especially you, Lindsay, like, you fell into like one thing and then it went into another thing and then it went into another thing. And like, you just really got your niche going and it turned into what you have now,
Yeah, Lindsay has her own brand. She was Team Green. Now she's Team Orange.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I say this to everyone because I used to give like career coaching sessions at different schools. And one of the things that I would always say is it doesn't matter what you love. If you love finance, if you love marketing, if you love business development, if you love management, if you love, whatever in business that you can think of, there's a place for you in aviation. And just to broaden people's views, because like you said, Rachel, a lot of people think aviation and they just think pilot, flight attendant, or mechanic.
Yeah.
And really, there's no limit. I mean, it's a whole industry and a whole kind of ecosystem within itself.
It really is. Like, it's
the parts. Yeah.
Nothing.
Every aviation company needs a finance department. Like,
exactly.
They all need different types of people there.
Exactly. They all need HR. They all need talent, acquisition. I mean, literally anything that you love, there you can find a home in aviation. And it's really, and I always say this too, aviation is a labor of love because yes, there's a lot of benefits to working in the industry and a lot of unique things to working within the industry that are, not
Everything is
in
on
other.
fire all the time, and it's all about managing all the fires and putting them out because two more are starting over there. And if you like
Exactly.
high-paced environments, aviation where it's at. The only like there's really not a lot of downtime, like we're flying
That, but
airplanes,
also,
It's 24/7. I mean, planes are always flying, and
always.
they're flying. There are always. I mean, you can look
there's no
on.
vacations.
Right. There's no downtime.
No holidays.
There's no days off.
Yeah.
The sun never sets on aviation. We are always on duty.
But also it is one of those industries too that is so highly regulated and the responsibility is so great.
Yeah.
You could go work as a mechanic for cars and the responsibility isn't the same, right? Like you could mess up and you're not going to be, talking to the NTSB.
No, we're
and
putting
sitting
people through the air. We're putting people through
Right.
the air, and we have to always look at it as our family is on board. And that's what my dad's always said, that you can't pull over at 3,000 foot. Like, I always look at something as if my baby girl is in it. That's what he always told me. And that's how I conduct it at my business. Like, if I'm looking at something and I'm not going to send out something that's unserviceable because I need money. No, my kids are going to be on that airplane. What if they want to go flying with some dude and there's a phrase for that where something deviation where we're like lenient on something and then it turns into more leniency and then all of a sudden we're not following the rules anymore, and that's how people become an NTSB report real fast. That's why we have rules.
Right.
Don't be a statistic. Don't be a statistic.
Right. And that's the unique aspect to aviation is that absolute weight of responsibility. And again, that's why I say it's a labor of love. Like you have to have a passion for the industry, to take on that responsibility. And once you do, though, once you get that fire, that bug inside of you, it's like, I always say you either love it or you hate it. I don't think there's any in between with aviation.
Nope.
And once you love it, you can't leave it. And it feels like it's your responsibility and you want to be one to like make sure things are done right.
Oh, I'm losing internet as usual. Oh, I'm back. I want to do a bet right now though. I will bet $10 right now that after Mia is losing you guys again.
I'll take that bet.
I will bet $10 that after Mia's been flying with Delta for about a year, I don't even think it'll take a year, but I'll bet $10 she's going to be like, I want to be a pilot.
I agree with you. So I did the flight attendant role for about a year and a half, and I immediately was like, well, I was already doing a little bit of flight training, so I was like, I want to go back to flight training. But I also was like, I want to get back to maintenance. So anytime I would land in any base, I made friends with all the mechanics and they would come pull up in the golf cart, pick me up. They'd take me to their little maintenance. I always call it like the bat cave.
We're the ones that have all the fun. That's why we're pirates.
Yeah, exactly. And I would ask all the questions and I wanted to learn. And it just was fascinating to me. It was very technical, and I'm a nerd and I just love technical and science and data and all these things. And so I was like, yeah, I got to get back to doing that. And as much as I enjoyed traveling and the people and, that side of it, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, check, did that. All right, now I got to get back and I need to do something else now. And you'll probably find yourself, you might love it and stay in it forever. And that's cool too, but you're probably going to end up doing other things in addition.
Especially being around your dad.
Yes. And, we got started when I was, talking about aviation writing when I was in high school. I'm excited to actually get to, we did the writing in our living rooms, we did the writing in coffee shops, but I'm excited to actually get to be there in person on the plane. And that's going to be a really exciting day, my first day of work. So,
well, we want to have you back after your training too, because I would love, we talked about this last time that there's such an ignorance in our world about what flight attendants do. And even just the sheer pressure cooker that you're in when you go through these training courses. And it's
you have to deal
not
with all
like
the people.
well, the
stay in the hangar.
training, but the training is like intense. So not only are you learning all the components to the plane, you're learning where everything is, all the, safety equipment. You're learning medical procedures. You're learning safety procedures. Like you have to know so many things and so many different aircraft types. And, if you fail tests, it's not like, oh, I failed a couple tests, whatever, I'll try again. No, it's like you're done. You lose your job. Yeah. That's your opportunity. One shot or you're done. And so I just think that it would be really cool to talk to you and pick your brain after and hear your experience. Oh, yeah. And you're going to have like funny experiences. You're going to have moments when you probably just break down and cry. You're probably going to, I'm telling you, you'll go through the whole
gamut. That happens often already.
I used to, when I went through my flight attendant training, I remember we would like get on the bus in the morning heading to class, and we knew we had a test every morning, first thing. And we all would sit there in like silence and like look at each other because we're all like, okay, someone's going home today. And it felt like a reality TV show. Like someone's getting kicked off the island today and it ain't going to be me. And it ain't going to be me. Yeah, because I just didn't sleep. I just studied nonstop. But you're going to go through the whole series of emotions.
Yes.
So
luckily, my strong suit is memorization. Like, I'm not a math or science person at all, but I can write a mean essay in an hour and I can memorize almost anything. So that's what got me through anatomy, which is my favorite science, because it really was just learning and memorizing and knowing how the human body works. So I like learning new things, and I got a big brain to store it all. So I'm excited to learn in training and, get everything stored away in there.
Bring note cards.
Yes, for sure.
Flashcard.
I can't take notes on like an iPad or a laptop. I need to like be writing it.
I have pen to paper.
Absolutely. That's what gets it in your head. So I like to do everything on paper. I got to go to Staples and get a few notebooks and some nice ballpoint pens to get me started. So
I have to go back to work, you guys.
Awesome. What's that?
I have to go back to work.
Oh, yeah, I know. We're already, gosh, we could probably talk for hours and hours. But thank you guys for, redoing this. We did this once before and lost all our content, but I appreciate it.
And I was the problem child today with my internet. Sorry. No worries. But we wish you all the best of luck, Mia, in your training. We can't wait to pick your brain in a couple months.
Yes, part 2 coming soon.
Yeah, and thank you, Richard, for, bringing this lovely lady into the industry and hopefully recruiting your other
number
daughter
one dad. Well. Yeah.
Maggie's next. I will say, when we were talking about your dad, Rachel, it reminded me of my dad because he is such a good girl dad that I can't even imagine.
My dad just showed up. My dad just showed up. And
he's a great girl dad.
This is my recommendation letter for my 8610. So, look, the mustache. Say hi, Dad.
There's Dad. Hi, Jerry.
Okay, I gotta go, guys.
I hope you guys, I hope you enjoy your holiday, and thanks again for your time. And we'll be in touch soon to follow up with you, Mia.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.